You're all very welcome, Reverend Father, ladies and gentlemen, and invited guests. You're all welcome here today to the launch of Leitrim's Health is Wealth. I want to thank you all for taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us for this very special occasion. And to our speakers, Carole Colman, Michael Feeney, Dr. Catherine Dolan, Olwyn O'Toole and Charlene Tyrell. Why we were doing this again. Every year we say we'll never do Leitrim's Health is Wealth, and this year is no different. Something always comes up and something comes along that we just happen to do it again. And this year it began with a chance meeting at a social inclusion night in Killinumry Hall that Seamus O'Rourke was at. And I met with Olwyn O'Toole, that great lady sitting down there from Healthy Ireland. And we had a discussion about doing something to promote positive health in the community. And we talked about if Brezzy would do his show for us, it would be terrific, and bring it to Leitrim. And that we'd invite Charlie McGettigan and Dr. Catherine Dolan to be guests on the night. And we accomplished all them things with great help from Olwyn. And thanks to Charlie and thanks to Dr. Catherine Dolan for coming to speak and being here today as well. Our aim and why we started it. Well, I'll tell you a wee story about why we started it. It had a very simple beginning. After a very busy day at Outpatients here in Carrick, and we were having a quick cup of tea in the Landmark, or it wasn't the Landmark, it was the Bush. And I happened to be the Leitrim Person of the Year in 17, and we were just ready to go home after a hard day. And Valerie said something amazing to me. She said, "Did you ever think of doing something, to promote positive mental health and well-being?" And I said, "Look, what are you talking, or what are you thinking about?" And she said, "Something that would help people and promote positive mental health and all that." And she said, "Well, look, I'll think about it over the weekend and I'll tell you more about it Monday." And I said, "Are you going to help me now if we're going to do this?" And she agreed, and she's been doing it since. Our aim was to start a conversation around mental health issues in order to try and reduce stigma associated with it and try and encourage people to believe that it's okay not to be okay, and it's okay when you're unwell to look for help. We wanted our message to resonate with the ordinary person on the street. We have always wanted the event to be accessible to all, and this year is no different. Working in partnership with Olwyn O'Toole, Healthy Leitrim and Leitrim County Council, who are our main sponsors, this will be a free event this year as well. So I'm going to ask Olwyn to come here to the stage and say a few words on behalf of Leitrim County Council and Healthy Ireland.
Nothing like a bit of pressure, is there? First and foremost, I just want to say thank you to Hubert and to Valerie. Honest to God, this has really got nothing to do with me. This is all their show, so a bit of a clap for them, please, if at all possible. And we're absolutely delighted to be involved in this event. I think the big thing with Healthy Leitrim is about trying to prevent issues, and I think an event like this can go a really long way to preventing some mental health issues in the future. That's all. Thank you.
Now I'm going to call on another fabulous lady, a lady who has 2 All-Ireland medals. She started playing for Leitrim in 2003. She has an All-Ireland Intermediate Championship winning medal for 2007, a National League Women's title in 2010, an Intermediate Connacht Championship medal in 2021, and an All-Ireland Intermediate Championship medal last year. And she's also nominated for Player of the Year in 2024. And it's not often you get a Leitrim lady with 2 All-Ireland medals, man or woman. So would you please welcome Charlene Tyrell.
Thanks a million, and thanks for inviting me here today. it's funny, it's like a natural reaction of all Irish people, isn't it? We cringe when we hear like good things being read out about us. It's terrible. But that was a good introduction. Thank you. Yeah, that's like my story in a nutshell. I don't know if someone wants to do the maths, in 2003 what age I was, and I debuted with Leitrim. And like playing with like stalwarts of Leitrim ladies football back then was like playing with Anne-Marie Cox, Maeve Quinn, Sinead Brennan. Like they literally moulded me into the footballer I am today. You know, I was lucky to win an All-Ireland with them fabulous ladies in 2007. And then the National League in 2010, and I sort of came and went like the wind when I was younger, and got offered a job for the summer in Portugal and ended up staying away for 2 years, which then led to my stint away from football until I came back with Leitrim in 2020. And through my time away, I had a son, so I'm a mother to a teenager. And I'm sure some of you have seen like my interviews and my articles that I was lucky enough, because of football, to have the opportunity to speak out on a national level about my mental health struggles and share them with everybody, and let females in sport, in particular mothers in sport, know who have kids and come back, that it's okay to come back, it's okay to prioritise your own mental health. For me, like, playing football isn't just playing football, it enables me to go out, forget my worries and my stresses, and then go home and be the best mother I possibly can be. So that's what football represents to me. So coming back in 2020 to play with Leitrim and to lift the All-Ireland Cup last year, it was incredibly special. It marked mine and my son's journey since coming home to Ireland in 2019 to where we got to now. Getting back involved with Leitrim has provided so many opportunities for me. The GPA is our national governing body for inter-county players, past and present, and they provide resources such as financial support, mental health support, injury support, and for me, job opportunity. And I was lucky enough to get a job with the GPA as a mental health facilitator. And it's been incredible. I go around to the clubs around Connacht for me, but we do it nationally, and we deliver the message to young boys and girls from the age of 12 up to 17. We teach them about mental health, the signs and symptoms, and most importantly, how to help themselves and each other out when they do come into difficulty. Because had I had that resource available to me when I was younger, when I then in my 20s started struggling with my own mental health, I would have known how to help myself sooner rather than it get as bad as it did. So I feel really privileged and really grateful to have the opportunity to share my story and to help young people today. And as you were saying, like, it's okay not to be okay, and it's okay to say, do you know what, I'm struggling. There's no shame in it. So I'm really honoured to be here and speak and be with you all. And, it's a wonderful event coming up. And I hear I'm so behind all this sort of work. And here's to like a healthier, I suppose, Leitrim for all of us. So thank you, and thanks for inviting me.
Well done, Charlene. You're a great example, and we're very proud of you and all you have achieved in your own life and with the Leitrim Ladies GA. Well done. So I'm now going to call on a friend of mine. We had a meeting once upon a time down at the hospital. That's a few years ago now. Dr. Catherine Dolan. Catherine is consultant and co-lead memory assessment and consultant for older age psychiatry in Leitrim. And when Valerie asked Catherine to speak at the event on the 3rd of May, she never hesitated but agreed to do it straight away. So I invite Catherine to the podium here.
Thanks, Hubert. Like everyone else, I don't like those introductions very much, but it's a privilege to be able to come here today and to be involved in the event, Leitrim's Health is Wealth, because I was thinking about the title, and really that is the only wealth. It's, our health, our physical and mental health, and this is such an important event. So when Valerie asked me, I work with Valerie, so I was never going to say no to Valerie, but I was delighted I did say yes, and I felt completely out of my depth because I suppose you have the very well respected and well known people like Charlie McGettigan and Brezzy, which are brilliant for this event, to be here, and I will I'll struggle on and be there, but I think the conversation about mental health is so important. It touches everybody, like mental ill health, and if not our own experience, it's our family, our friends, our colleagues, and people often struggle to speak about it. So I think any event like this that kind of breaks down the stigma or tries to tackle it is so important. And it starts a conversation, and that conversation keeps on going, and with that hopefully comes more openness. I can't stand here without kind of, I suppose, singing the praises of both Valerie and Hubert in pushing this event and coming back year after year, even when they say it's the last one, and doing it all over again, because there's so much work into this, not just on the night, but in the lead up. And I know with Olwyn and the Leitrim County Council, that organisation piece and that driving it, it's tireless work. But it was my job in the area of psychiatry is working with people aged 65 and older, and there's a unique stage of life where there's differences and things that can happen and come all together often all at the one time, and there can be loss, grief, isolation, physical, mental health, cognitive health struggles. But what never ceases to amaze me is the resilience, I suppose the strength and the power of community and helping people tackle those mental health difficulties. And this is one such event. I think that's testament to Leitrim and its support of people's health. So best of luck with it. I'm delighted to be taking part.
Thank you very much, Catherine. Now we're going to show you two little videos. Brezzy couldn't be with us here today. He's doing his PhD. So I'm going to get Connor to show you Brezzy sending us a message here on the big screen.
Hello, how's it going? Brezzy here, and I'm very much looking forward to bringing the live Where's My Mind podcast to the Landmark Hotel in Carrick-on-Shannon on Saturday, the 3rd of May. And it's a free event. You just got to sign up for your tickets. And the show is a deep dive into this little piece of meat between our ears and how we can better take care of it in the head-melty chaos of the modern world. It's music, it's spoken word, and we have amazing guests in Charlie McGettigan and Dr. Catherine Dolan. And on the night, you're all very welcome. Just sign up, get your tickets now, and I'm very much looking forward to getting up to Carrick-on-Shannon. The last time I was there, I was kayaking the length of the Shannon, so this time hopefully it'll be a bit more relaxing and enjoyable. But I'll see you there on the 3rd of May.
And again, thanks to Brezzy for agreeing to come. He's only taken his expenses. He'd be very expensive if we had to give him the full amount. We wouldn't be able to do it. There was a lot of negotiation and all that. But we've arrived and he's coming, and that's terrific. So thanks to Brezzy as well. And I'm going to introduce you now to somebody who's been with us all the time since 2017. And that's our own Eurovision winner, Charlie McGettigan. He's been with us every year, no matter where we were, launches on the night, and he's going to be with us again on the 3rd of May. So I'm going to let Connor show you Charlie's message.
Hello, I'm Charlie McGettigan. Leitrim's Health is Wealth, which has been a huge success over the last number of years, making the general public aware of mental health issues, addiction, bereavement, and many other related subjects. The organisers are delighted to announce that the next Leitrim's Health is Wealth will feature inspirational singer-songwriter Niall Breslin, known as Brezzy. The event will be part of Brezzy's captivating podcast, Where Is My Mind? I attended one of Brezzy's events recently and was knocked out by his unique way of drawing you into his life experiences through music and song. As someone said to me on the night, Brezzy is a seriously funny man with the emphasis on serious. Also on the night, consultant psychiatrist Dr. Catherine Dolan will speak, and I'll be there myself to sing a song or two. The event will take place in the Landmark Hotel, Carrick-on-Shannon, on Saturday the 3rd of May. Tickets, which are free, will be available from the Landmark Hotel, from www.leitrim.ie and from www.eventbrite.ie. We'd love to see you there.
Charlie is an amazing man, and as I said, at a drop of a hat, like everybody else who's been with us down the years, they've come and he's come, so I'm delighted he's able to be with us on the 3rd of May. Now, the next man I'm going to introduce to you is Michael Feeney. Michael's no stranger to Leitrim, so I am pleased to extend my heartfelt congratulations to Michael, our next speaker, for being honoured as Leitrim Person of the Year. He has served also as a remarkable ambassador for Leitrim, particularly during his tenure with the IDA, where he successfully facilitated projects that helped instigate the outflow of people from County Leitrim. Michael remains actively engaged with Leitrim, contributing to the development of walking and cycling trails. Furthermore, he has been a steadfast supporter of Leitrim's Health is Wealth initiative. In 2017, during our inaugural event, Michael demonstrated his belief in our project by connecting us with influential speakers for our event. So I welcome Michael on stage.
Thanks, Hubert, for the introduction. And I must say it's a great privilege to be here with Hubert and also to connect up with the Leitrim Person of the Year of 2017. And I was very impressed at the time by Hubert's, question: what can I leave behind? What lasting contribution can I make? So I was asking him before the talk, what are the factors that are most contributing to mental health issues in Leitrim and maybe lack of well-being? And he was saying that historically the issue is probably to do with a lot of immigration and past as well unemployment and loneliness. And I was reflecting on that myself because I always had a great passion for the county based on the community, based on my experience, probably got it from my family. But the thing that I remember is a very happy childhood. I grew up in Killargy down in North Leitrim, really happy childhood. But the one thing that used to upset me at the time was families immigrating. It was the first time that we saw mass exodus of families, and it really would upset me as a young boy. And I would hear, then I was thinking back to my own mother had immigrated and all of this immigration thing. I said, it's tearing the heart out of the county. So subsequently I was working first in Belfast and then in London, got involved with the Leitrim Association and the Irish Centre in Camden Town. And I came across a lot of loneliness from Irish immigrants in London. Charlene talked about, maybe loneliness when you're away from your community. And I certainly experienced that. And I started writing this Leitrim London commentary in the Leitrim Observer. I was trying to connect and bring things. So I was very impressed with because I'm interested in getting to the root of things, very impressed with Michael Fox and why he set up the Leitrim Guardian back in 1968. And essentially it was to address the issue that I was talking about a little bit earlier, this issue of population decline, immigration, lack of confidence, and massive immigration decline. And that's why he set up the Leitrim Guardian, and then he set up the Leitrim Person of the Year to try and encourage people to fight against the tide. And I think that there has been great progress over the years in Leitrim. There's been progress with employment. There's a lot of employment now creating in Sligo, but still not enough. And the population is increasing, and dramatically in some of the towns, particularly around Carrick, but in the rural areas, not enough. And there's so much to be done. I have been involved with the Leitrim GA for years, talking to Charlene about it as well, and you know, all the pride that the football teams have brought over the years, back in '94, and then with the ladies, 2007, 2024. And that's all about raising morale. It's about creating a community. It's about creating well-being. It's about encouraging young children to have role models and to get involved and to be active. And that's one of the reasons why we do it. It's not, I'm involved in the fundraising for years. We have a big fundraiser here on Sunday night called the Quid Game. Again, raising funds. We have 44 contestants. All this money goes to the Leitrim ladies and men's football development groups and teams. But it's to try and improve morale. Another thing that I am involved with, has been mentioned, a work in partnership on a voluntary basis with Leitrim County Council to address, to improve economic development in the county, and also to look at the infrastructure on tourism-related greenways and walkways. And I really believe in this. I really believe that that these walkways can be very positive contributors to mental health. Because what you forget is that in rural Ireland, it's much more difficult in the wintertime in particular to go out and have a walk. You can be mowed down by a car. It's difficult. Whereas in a city with the light, you can walk anywhere. And these greenways, I believe, are the future. We have big plans for the greenways in Leitrim. There's a huge plan that I hope will be delivered on, and I hope they can deliver. One final thought in terms of the why and the causes and addressing it is the depopulation in the rural areas. There is at the moment, you know, the vacant house grant scheme for doing up old houses. I think there are about 160 houses at the moment that have got approval. That should be 1,000. I mean, there's absolutely no reason why more of this can't be achieved. I have met last week a number of people who have actually availed of it, and it's fantastic with the SEI grants on top of it. So I'm hoping that there will be a bigger take-up. I'd like to see even more push on it and more role modelling of what can be done, because this applies in the towns and it applies in the rural communities. And you don't have to have planning permission. That's the good thing, because planning permission in Leitrim has been difficult once there's a septic tank there. But that's my wish for the year, that would be embraced more. Commend Hubert and Valerie for this initiative. Absolutely fantastic. And it gets down to one simple thing, you know, that particularly on Healthy Ireland, activity of any kind will help release the endorphins and can do so much good. And even if that message was taken away, it would be great. Commend you. This is a brilliant event with Brezzy that you have lined up. I'd be very surprised if the tickets last much longer. It's so attractive, and I wish you good luck with it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Michael, and thank you for your help and support in the past. So now the main speaker of the day, Carole Colman. I would like to take this opportunity to introduce to you Carole Colman, who you all know very well, and I would like to acknowledge the fact that Carole has been a true ally of Leitrim's Health is Wealth initiative. She graciously launched the event in 22 down in Killinumbry and Dromahare, and has done one in Drumshanbo, really the second one I think we've done, and has consistently assisted us in promoting our activities. Just last week, when I reached out to her, she readily agreed to launch today's event here in the Landmark. It is with great pleasure that I introduce our guest speaker, a distinguished broadcaster, writer, former Washington correspondent with RTE, and current journalist instructor in Galway University, and a very proud Leitrim woman, Carole Colman.
Phew! Now that was an introduction. Thank you so much. And you make me follow all these amazing speakers. Notice the journalist is the only one who needs the notes. I don't know what's wrong with this picture, but anyway. No, seriously, it's really nice to be back again to help launch Leitrim's Health is Wealth. As Hubert said there, I did it with Hubert and Valerie. I think it was the second year in Drumshanbo. And just thinking back to it, I mean, that really was a time when mental health as a topic was still a little bit niche, even that recently. And not anymore. I think we can certainly say that that day is gone. I mean, whether it was the lockdowns during COVID or the crisis of climate that's bearing down on us all, or the fact that we're all so glued to our screens and our devices these days, I don't know what it is, but mental health and mental health challenges have really become mainstream, because they affect us all to one degree or another. And I know some people are much more seriously affected, but we all know now what people are talking about. I think we see our teenagers racked with anxiety these days. You know, we've got young children, even in primary school, who are refusing to go to school, refusing to leave their homes. The numbers of days missing is growing. You know, I think we've got a lot of depressed people, like who Mike spoke about, who are alone, just waiting for somebody to visit them. You know, their families are gone, emigrated, whatever. We have addictions, eating disorders, gambling, homelessness. The precariousness of so many people's homes these days in itself is a crisis that then feeds into the mental health crisis. And then a lot of us suffer from feelings of failure as well, no matter how hard we try. That phrase that two of you at least have mentioned already, I think it was Charlene and somebody else, it's okay not to be okay. I don't know who came up with that little phrase, but it has absolutely done wonders in helping to remove the stigma from mental health in just a few short years. I mean, I know people who suffer from mental health will say that the stigma is certainly not gone, and I'd agree with that. But people from all walks of life are now coming forward and speaking openly about what goes on in here and how what goes on in your skull basically affects your whole body and your whole well-being and your whole community and your family. It is just so central. Where is my mind, is what Brezzy asks. And many of us have used the old phrase, oh my God, I'm losing my mind, I'm losing my head here. You know, where is my mind? It's just such a good question. And that's what we're about here, Leitrim's Health is Wealth. As you know, I work on RTE Radio, and in the last month or so, I worked on a couple of pieces on mental health services, I suppose you would say. In this area, I concentrated on the Northwest for the News at 1. And my God, I learned so much doing those pieces, because I wouldn't know an awful lot about the topic. You know, I hear about it all the time and I listen. But I learned that in Ireland, for instance, and Catherine will know about all of this, we have 25 psychiatric inpatient beds per 100,000 of population. The comparable figure in other countries our size and countries who would have a similar background to us is 75 per 100,000. Psychiatrists told me that the threshold now for being admitted into a psychiatric bed is just getting higher and higher all the time because of this lack of beds, and that as a result they're seeing people coming to them sicker and sicker, and these would be people with very serious illnesses like bipolar and schizophrenia. Thankfully, the large institutions of the past are gone. And for my research, I actually went down to Sligo and I saw what used to be called St. Columba's Lunatic Asylum. If you can believe it, that's what it was called up to fairly recently. These institutions are now gone, thankfully. And we know that in the past, so many people were committed to institutions against their will because there was just nothing else for them. However, even though we're happy they're gone, from what I'm learning through my own research, is that we still haven't provided sufficient services to replace them for many people. So there are many people who are ending up going to hospital, coming back out again and re-entering hospital. The Mental Health Commission told me from my report that 67% of hospital admissions are readmissions. So there are people who've been in, been treated, been sent home or whatever. So there's a massive need as well for step-down services where people can take time to recover, and services that would have clinicians and people there to help them. Because I suppose recovering from any kind of mental health crisis or learning to live with it is a process that takes a lot of time. I've been reading recently about these sort of farms that they've set up in various countries, like where people can go and spend, they recommend at least a year or 18 months to spend there to get over your mental health crisis. As part of that series, I also visited the fantastic crisis resolution team in Sligo, and that's a team of people, all experts in their field, led by a consultant psychiatrist who go out to people's homes and visit them there. And these are people who obviously would prefer not to end up in hospital or have to sit in waiting lists or queues in the A&E. And also the clinicians get to see what might be affecting them at home. Is there food in their fridge? You know, is there electricity working? What's going on at home that's causing this crisis? I also met Rebecca, the lovely counsellor coordinator at the Northwest Stop, which is the charity that covers this area. And she told me about her own experiences with the mental health system. But now, in her current job, she's encountering parents who are calling Northwest Stop about children as young as 4 years old who are suffering from anxiety. And she says many of their callers are in their 80s. So nobody is immune. We see doctors under pressure, sportsmen and women, as Charlene has told us before. Farmers, we hear a lot about farmers. And this week it was interesting that on RTE there was a report said that 50% of farmers who were surveyed suffer from high blood pressure as well as other things. So nobody is immune. I suppose myself, I'm blessed that I have only normal anxiety, low-level anxiety, you might call it, pressures of life, state of the world, everything that's going on back in my old stomping ground, Washington, D.C., is enough to spin your head or ask you, where is your mind these days? But just the regular things of life, teenagers. What I do, and I have to thank Mike for bringing this up, I walk. I go for long walks, and that's what I love to do, go for a walk with my radio in my ear or whatever. We don't have a dog, my husband won't have one, but I love my walks. I play music with friends, a group of friends. We play music together every Monday night and do little performances and play for the hospital and all this kind of stuff. I might go for coffee with a friend, or I go to visit my mother, Kathleen Colman, who always puts me in good humour because she always has such great stories. I always cock my ear when I hear somebody on the radio who has managed to overcome their own mental difficulties and want to talk about how they've done it and want to help other people. Charlene, you're one of them, and thank you very much for that. And I was very familiar with your story, which I had read. Niall Breslin, or Brezzy, is another one. He's a former rugby player. He's a talented musician. He's a great storyteller. I saw his show in Galway last year and it was absolutely fantastic. So people who go here are in for an absolute treat. And I can't wait to hear himself and Charlie McGettigan talking and maybe jamming a bit together. And Dr. Catherine Dolan, you better get your party piece ready now. So I really do hope that you and Valerie continue to do this, or at least teach somebody else how to do what they're doing so that it continues on, because putting the spotlight on mental health continues to be so important. And I know all of us are of an age here in this room, but we also have to think about the younger people, where that anxiety just seems to be so sky high right now for a multitude of reasons. And it'd be lovely to see some younger people coming to this as well. I pray for the politicians that they can secure more funding, particularly in areas like ours here, where people have to cover such a large area in terms of services, and we're all so spread out and so rural and everything. And I hope that just all of us continue to share ideas with one another about how to keep ourselves and each other sort of bright and happy and healthy and active. So thank you very much again for asking me to launch this, and can't wait to see it. I hope I get to go. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Carole, and thank you for all your help down the years. And I was going on a trip another time raising funds for Northwest Hospice to New York, and there was 2 people who gave me a lot of help that time. You were one of them, and Valerie got her husband's uncle, Pat McGettrick, to help us as well. So thanks for that as well, and thanks to Pat for his great help to us when we were over there. So it comes to thank yous now. You all have to get the tickets. You might have to correct me now, I got this one wrong. It's www.leitrim.ie and go to the...
It's on the very front page, upcoming events. Can't miss it.
You can't
If you do miss it, bring the council.
And tickets are going fast, so get in quickly and get them. And we look forward to Bressie and Dr. Catherine and Charlie McGettigan that night. So again, thanks to Olwyn O'Toole for being here and, getting very badly needed funding. And if any of the rest of you down there knows where there's any more funding, as Carole spoke about, we'd like to get it. And I'd like to say the Health Board could be coming up with a bit of funding. It wouldn't kill them, and I'll leave it at that. Charlene, Tyrell, wonderful girl, wonderful ambassador for Leitrim. Charlie, Bressie, Dr. Catherine Dolan, Michael Feeney, Carole again, the Leitrim Observer, Brian Farrell, and his good wife Maurice, who's always been pushing our case for the last, 9-10 years now, and I believe she's a little bit ill at the moment, but getting better, so we send her our best wishes. And thanks, Brian, for being here today with us. Ocean and Shannonside and the Irish Independent, who gave us a slot and is going to do a feature on this. I want to thank John Flynn, our videographer. John is always on hand when needed, and for taking photographs too. The Landmark Hotel here for helping us out. Conor Fihilly, our graphic designer. All you people who took time out to come here today, thank you very much. And a big thank you to Valerie, who's been given huge help since 2017. She'll regret that day that I asked her, if I do this, are you going to help me? And she said she would, and she's been doing that since. So thank you all very much.